Health and healing is not an overnight fix. It takes time, it takes consistency and effort. It's individualized and a self exploration that's different for everyone. It's important for you to self reflect and to do what is right for you and your body. In today's episode, Rose and I are going to talk about our personal healing journeys and what we did to help ourselves along the way. So, welcome everyone to Chat Off the Mat. I am Jennifer Aish.
And I am Rose Whippich. How is everybody today? I hope everyone's doing well. Jennifer and I are so excited to be here. We're starting our third season. We took a little hiatus, but it's all about self-health and self-healing and self-care. So, try to, walk the talk a little bit as well. And how are you doing, Jennifer?
I'm doing great. I'm
Good.
doing wonderful. I'm excited to be back here too. I've definitely missed us getting together and doing some fun episodes and just talking about all types of things that have to do with what we do off of our yoga or qigong mat, if you will.
Yes. So Jennifer and I were talking, and we decided that to focus an episode on some of our own personal healing journeys, specific or related around a specific ailment or experience. So I'm going to start off by talking about something that has been plaguing me for quite some time. I would say many, many months. I've always had back issues. Once in a while something will go out, and I'll be hurting for a little bit. But this past year, I guess around September or so, I was really hit with a lower back pain, and I couldn't function for a while. But it was leading up to that. I knew that there were things happening in my body, my lower back, and my piriformis, which is around the glute muscle. Things in my legs. It wasn't sciatica. So I kept moving and I kept doing what I do, not getting better. And then I was really plagued by this lower back pain. So, try to move forward here, went to chiropractor, did all the things that I felt were helping me. Massage, that type of manipulation. So, you know, continuing that journey. Is it great today? No, it's still bothering me. Am I stopping from healing? No, because I understand that healing is not something that happens overnight, it's continuous. Now, one of the things that I started to do when this all started to happen was I created a healing journey just for my back. So I would sit there every day and I would write down, okay, where was the pain? What did I do that day that could have aggravated it? What did I do that maybe made it feel better? So, all these things, including how I felt. So, I added an emotional aspect to it. And so, I would write everything down so that I would take a look at, when I felt better and when things were not feeling as good. Um, and the other thing I started to do is really dive deep into the emotional component. So with the lower back and understanding this from my training with yoga and also qigong, is that the lower back is related to the kidneys, which relates to fear. So once I saw that and I knew that, I realized that a lot of my lower back issues stemmed from putting my kids in college first semester in September. Mind you, September is when my back kind of crashed, so to speak. They got their license in that summer when my back really kind of started to hurt. So that big piece, that fear, I think with the kidneys is fear. Um, that emotional component really contributed to the physical of the lower back pain. And it was just, debilitating lower back pain. So, knowing that, I started to work on some exercises that helped me release some of that fear. And some of that stuff was rooted in some childhood trauma that I experienced. And it was around a car accident that I had when I was 10 years old. And so, from that, of course, I am afraid my kids getting into a car or getting hurt. And they're teenagers, so I was a young child, and that happened to me. And I little did I know it changed, my it changed me. So I've been working on trying to release a lot of that fear. And is it all gone? No, because I'm still worried. I'm still fearful. Is that back pain still there? Yes. But I understand that this is a journey and it's a long journey. So I guess that's kind of my story from a high level. And I wanted to share that with you. And I want you to think about if there's anything that you're experiencing physically and even emotionally, where that is stemming from. Like what's happening in your body and what's happening in your mind or your spirit as well. Because, a physical pain is not just, it's not isolated, there's more to it. And you have to kind of peel back the layers to find out what the root cause is.
I have a
So,
question
yeah,
for you.
okay.
Because I think one thing, and I forgot to mention this before we started the episode as well, but I know we discussed this before, was just about how much messaging there is out there, right? About different fix-its and stuff like that. Um, so I guess my question is like, were you getting conflicting messaging about how to deal with your back?
Oh, yeah, that's a great
Does that make
question.
sense?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, like were there some things that people were like, "Hey, do this, it's gonna fix it," or I think that happens to a lot of people. I know it happens to me. It's just sometimes I feel overwhelmed with just all the various messages coming at me
Yeah, a lot of
for different
information.
things, for diet. Yeah, there's a lot of information that people are trying to put out there, and especially with the Instagram and stuff like that.
And
People
friends
trying to be
even.
influencers
Right, yeah,
and
absolutely.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, you
So,
talk
was
to
there anything?
oh, I was gonna say, so you talk to people who, a lot of people my age, and that's what the chiropractor says, people our age. And, he would say that to me, like, they experience this type of stuff. I'm like, well, you know what? Don't go there with me because I know my body more than anybody. Okay. And here I am trying to talk to him anatomy, and he's like saying, no, 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 this is not happening. But yeah, so a lot of people I know when they experience back pain, listen, it's tough, it's debilitating, you can't do certain things, but they rely on quick fixes. A shot. Oh, I got a shot from the doctor. Well, I say, well, how did that feel? Well, it felt good for the first hour, but then it didn't feel good. Okay, well, you know, maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe that doesn't work. Quick fixes don't work. Or what about a pill? A lot of people take pills. Even even Advil. Like, take 4 or 5 Advil, and your back pain, your inflammation will go down. Well, not necessarily. It doesn't always go down. And actually, by taking 4 or 5 Advil or other pills that are prescription that you really shouldn't be taking or borrowing are not going to help you. Um, they're masks, they're band-aids. I love what you said before. You have to stop the bleeding before with the band-aid.
Yeah, I was saying, like, it's always good to administer first aid. So, yeah, administer some first aid to the situation, take the Advil, and stuff like that. But you need to look further beyond the first aid,
Right,
right? Yeah.
right. So going to the chiropractor was one of the ways. And chiropractor is very holistic. But I was, I don't know if the word armed, but prepared with my theory because I know my body. So let's go back to my car accident. I have a left leg that's shorter than the right leg, and all my pain's on my right side. But I would mention this, and the doctor would be like, nope, that's not the reason. Okay. Well, how do you know that? Like, you know, but the thing is, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've yet to take certain tests like MRIs and things. I'm trying to see if I even need that yet, and working through some exercise programs that may help, and stretching and manipulation, and also some other ways to heal emotionally. Is that the next step for me? Maybe an MRI is the next step. Is surgery? I'm not going down that road because I feel that this is more muscular and I can, deal with it. I mean, granted, there's people with backaches, that chronic back issues that they've experienced for a long, long, long time. And maybe that there's ways that or things that they need to help them. But I think where we're coming today is like when you start experiencing at the beginning, oh, I have some pain here. You don't let it get to the stage where you can't walk anymore. You start to figure out what's happening. What led to this? Like my kids going to school, I'm worried, I'm fearful, or driving with other people, oh no, I want to drive myself. You think about these things just as your symptoms start or at the beginning of these illnesses so that you can help yourself heal. And you're not letting it go. You're not becoming the victim and saying, oh my God, I'm in pain all the time and I don't know what to do. So it's really about self-care. It's really this intense self-care that, yeah, you almost have to kind of drop everything and say, what do I need to do for myself? And that's where I am. I think about my back a lot. I think about like what I'm eating. Somebody told me in the field of holistic health said, it could be large intestines. You could be blocked and it's causing pressure on your lower back. I'm like, that's not a bad point. So adding a lot of fiber and psyllium husk, I know we're proponents of that, or probiotics really helping your gut health, can heal your body in a lot of ways. So you're looking at all these holistic components that make up, and the last one I want to mention is rest. I know you're gonna talk about another big part. I won't spoil it, but for me, it was rest. And when I learned to relax my psoas muscle, we talk about psoas muscle is a deep muscle that is connected from the top of your femur, which is your hip bone, to your spine, which helps with mobility, right? So sitting and walking and it's a muscle that it's hard to get to manipulate through, and you do it through movement, yoga and qigong and also through massage. And when that is tight, so when you have stress in your life, that thing tightens up like, you know, like a super tight. So it creates a tugging on your lower back. I've been working on ways to relax that muscle. So a lot of more restorative type um, exercises, or just relaxing and laying down, not moving, having my feet up, doing things like that. So I know I talked a lot. I said a lot in a small amount of time, but
No, I love it. Well, because you brought up fear and excitement as well, and I just want to point out that those emotions are in like traditional Chinese medicine, or even like qigong medicine, is kidneys and bladder.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
is
is the
is part of
fear.
that. And if you
Yeah,
think about the location of your kidneys, yeah, and where that is, like essentially, it's kind of behind the some organs in the low back region of the
yes,
body.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not to
I
say,
don't know if you had mentioned kidneys
I
earlier.
did. I think I did mention the
Oh
no,
yeah,
I
you
did
said the
mention the
psyllium
kidneys
husk.
with the
I'm
fear.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mentioned kidneys with fear and the
Yeah.
adrenals and
Okay.
having, and yeah, it's part of also the adrenals that are
Sorry.
no, that's fine. That's fine. No,
I reiterated for everyone out there.
in a way, I attribute, excuse me, a lot of this from just getting my kids. I'm not blaming my kids. I love my kids to death. Getting them ready for school, preparing them to be independent, letting them go. And, I got hit hard with, and it was creeping, but
Mhm.
I am just been dealing with this issue, and I'm not giving up. It's like it's I will help myself and fix it and learn from this experience too. So, and
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of
And
people out there have these issues, these back
yeah,
issues,
and I
and
think too, yeah, exact. Oh, for sure. I think that's a very common one. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Rose, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to add too, because you're talking about emotional, the emotions and the physical really are very interconnected. So if you physically hurt yourself, yourself. Let's say you don't properly pick up a box, a heavy box, and you strain your low back, you can have emotional responses to that. Or vice versa. If you're having, like you were saying, those emotional feelings, you're having physical responses to it. So I think they're very like woven
Yeah.
together, you know?
But the thing is finding the right healing technique, that works for you. I mean, massage is great, and going to a chiropractor, it did help actually because he did loosen a lot of the muscles that were deeper, that were tight, because when you're fearful, you're like you're in like a fight mode, from the adrenals, and you're like tight, your whole body gets tight. So I guess over time, my whole body, my back got tight. So that was very, very
Mm-hmm.
helpful. But even that took months before there was like this um shift. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't give up. You just, you keep trying and moving forward with those holistic approaches. I mean, I wasn't ready for any other type of, like I said, I'm not into pain medicine, like extreme, or give me a shot in my butt. Don't want that, or a hip, or wherever. Give me a shot in my butt. Um, so those weren't for me, and so I was able to identify just other ways. Um, and I was
And I
discerning.
would, yeah,
Yeah,
I,
go
I
ahead.
would love to see us continue to provide information and to just bring to light so that we're less dependent on kind of the, pharmaceutical
Pharmaceutical.
doctor industry. I feel like we here in this country, and I don't want to speak too much for other areas of the world, but I live here in America. We're American, so I can speak to here. But I do think that I go shopping and I see huge lines at the pharmacy, people picking up all these medications, and I think I wonder how many people in this line, if they had just had have adopt a nutritional aspect specific to what they need, an exercise routine specific to what they need, if they could slowly, help their blood pressure, help urinary issues, help other things, and make it better, and then depend less on it. Because I'll tell you, to me, when I see 50 deep of people waiting in a line to pick up their medication, I think like, boy, we need to do something differently here, because there's some people making a lot of money for keeping us unhealthy right now. And I would love, I'd like to say that Rose and I do work with people individually and stuff, but I am happy if anybody wants to send us an email with just a question. I think you can agree. I'd be happy to, like, at least answer any questions people have and just
Oh,
give them some
absolutely.
information.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, we can speak to from our own experiences. I mean, we're not doctors, and we're not,
Hmm.
physical therapists, but we've
Yeah,
studied different
exactly.
modalities, and we have a lot of resources.
Hmm.
And, everybody's different. Everybody's made up differently, and physically, and also emotionally. And, we can only offer what guidance. And one of the reasons why we want to talk about our journeys, because like I said, I know there's people out there that are suffering from the same things, but how you approach
Hmm.
your healing journey is going to make a difference. It's either going to get you
Hmm.
better, or if you don't have a healing journey, you're just going to be stuck in a loop, and you're only going to get worse. And you at some point you have to like wake up and say, shit, I got to help myself. What am I going to do? I have to do something. I talked to I know I've been hugging up Jennifer.
No, you're
I'm
fine,
no,
girl.
I
I mean, I'm feeding off of it, and
yeah.
it's wonderful. I love it.
No, we talked earlier, and I
This
was
is
like,
good stuff.
there's people that don't go to yoga class. Oh, I'm going to go to yoga class. I'm really not feeling. I'm like, come to class. What is stopping you from coming to class? You will do a couple of stretches with me. You're going to feel like a new person. I mean, what is stopping people from helping themselves? And I guess I come across that a lot, and I'm sure you do as well. You know, from
And
family members to
sometimes we
friends. Go.
yes, absolutely. Of course, of course. And what's so funny is that sometimes, a family member is the last person that's going to take the unsolicited advice, if you will.
Yes.
I'm like, come on, just try it. What's it gonna hurt you? They're like, nope, I'm only listening to my doctor. Which, listen, doctors have studied a long time. They're, they have a lot of information. I go to the doctor as well for my annual exams. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't ever go to the doctor.
Oh, right.
However, I don't depend on them anymore, if that makes sense.
Right.
I'm not depending on, I'm
No,
just doing my health and wellness.
it's a you're it's not co-creating, but it's a team effort with the doctor. At least for me.
Correct.
When I go to my
Yes.
doctor, it's not a one-way conversation. Like he'll say to me, "Do you need this, and that vaccines?" I'm like, "No, thanks." You know that? I'm like, "No, thank you." He said to me, "Oh, your borderline, your cholesterol has been high." This was during holidays. He's like, "Oh, I think you should get statins." And he just puts a prescription in. I'm like, "Are you?" I said to him, "Are you out of your mind?" I've known him for a long time. I'm like, "There's no way I'm taking these things. I will do it on my own." And of course, my cholesterol numbers were way better after I stopped eating, like, a couple of holiday cookies here and there and taking extra cocktail here and there. So I know what I'm doing because I know my body, right? So it would absolutely
This
be
is why I can't keep
discerning,
sweets in the house because I will
right?
eat the heck out of
Yeah.
those things. I'm like,
Hey,
when I buy them, I'm like, oh man.
yeah, diet's a whole nother thing. But I don't want to hog up conversation. And I know that you have a very,
Okay.
very important, um, journey of your own that you need to share.
Well, I presently, and I know some of my listeners are like, students and stuff like that, mine, but I've been going through some grief and letting go, lately. So this is present moment, and so these are things that I'm working through right now. So my most recent journey really has been an emotional one. And I have to say, Rose brought up digestion, and I am thankful for the past several months prior to what I'm about to talk about. I started really focusing on healthy digestion and also like kidney health and everything. It was just something that I've been laser focused on, and Rose knows that as well. I was noticing some bloating and stuff like that on around my stomach, so I realized I needed to kind of step back and look at my digestion, and it's been super beneficial. And I feel as though, because your digestion, is considered one of your brains in your body, so you can really tie in. A lot of times people say that depression sometimes is caused by people not having healthy digestion as well. So just to give you a little background to that, and we can go down a whole rabbit hole with that one. So I'm going to scale back from that. Maybe we can talk about that on another episode about all the things with healthy digestion. But um, so I've been so one thing I've past couple months I've really have been dealing with grief and needing to let go and accept things as they are and accept the rise and fall of life itself. Um, you know, I you know, moved. We sold our house. I moved. I lost my grandfather, and then we lost our one of our cats, who's 13 years old. So it just some very, and a lot of, I don't know if people aren't pet owners or something like that. Pets are with you day in and day out, and then no matter where you are, what your journey is, they're kind of with you. So, um, that was difficult. Losing my grandfather was very difficult as well. The saving grace with that was that he was very like calm. He's a very faithful man and stuff like that, so he was ready and he was at peace with everything, so it did make it a little bit easier on the family and stuff like that. So that was helpful, but anyways, I digress. But so one thing that I noticed really, and when I really realized like that grief was overtaking me, was my breath. And I could tell um my breath and my breathing just wasn't good, and I am a physically active person for the most part. I mean, I have those times where, I take a break and stuff like that. I mean, I'm human, but I don't have any kind of like long issues or anything like that, but I wasn't able to breathe as deeply. I was getting winded even going up and down stairs, which is just unusual for me, you know. So I knew like, okay, my emotions are causing my breath to not even be as good. So I just realized that I needed to slow down and just start just kind of embracing a mindset with it and just start to allow myself to work through things. And I really realized I needed to take care of my protective layer, my protective energetic layer. And just like I said, just allow myself to experience and feel. One of the things that's very difficult for me to do is to cry. However, crying is a way of your body releasing held energy, and it's very important for us to do. I mean, I'm very private about it. I don't even like really to have my husband around. I like to just go in my room and kind of lay on the bed and just kind of face the other way and just do that. But I knew it was important for me to do that, and just release that emotional energy out and work through it. And then I also had, after I spent just a couple of days of just allowing myself to sit in that grief, I realized, okay, I need to at least kind of find some purpose again. So I started to just make lists of what was a priority and what I really needed to do so that I could stay focused each day. And I would make the list small. I'm in transition right now. I'm going to be starting a new job. So that also is kind of a saving grace because they're processing me. So it's given me a little bit of time off. So I was actually able to just make like small little to do lists to help me stay focused. And then one of my mentors and friend, Clayton, who Rose knows very well, Clayton Crossley. I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but hey, Clayton. He gave me a quote that John Monroe from Long White Cloud Qigong, who's also our Qigong mentor, teacher, master, is this expression called chop wood and carry water, which is basically focus on what is necessary and make sure to fulfill those needs each day. When you're going through struggles, you just got to do the basics, for that. And so that's what I focused on. And each day when I would finish those few things that I'd want to do, I felt better. And not only that, but it took my mind off of things. But um, you know, I paid attention to my emotions and just tried to look at what was causing them and then focus on mindsets to help it. And like I said before, the physical and emotional, they're connected together. So my breathing was connected to my grief and sadness. And I did need to kind of experience it so that I could start to let go and, acceptance as well. I mean, that's a part of life. We lose people and things that we love, and that's how life works. And, we don't have control over it. And sometimes, that's hard to let go of as well as those things that we have no control over. We don't have control over, keeping people alive or, keeping them healthy or keeping them alive forever. It's just things that we don't control. So, I just allowed myself to walk within that experience. And I'm still sad, but much better. Because and I was finding beauty from the sadness. I the other day when I was looking at the sunrise over, we have a little lake behind our house. It had a different kind of beauty to it. I was attaching those emotions with it, and just the way that the sunrise looked and the sun looked across the lake, and there was some mist there and geese swimming in the lake and everything, and in something there was just a lot of beauty in how I was connecting with the sunrise and with my grief, and it was just very serene and calm and stuff like that. So I think, finding beauty in those things, because I think that we truly realize, grief is very interesting because when you're experiencing it, you can really find what's really important in life what really matters in life. Um, and then also through challenging times, we also find ourselves as well. It's the challenges that and how we choose to overcome the challenges and everything that I feel like strengthen us as a person and help us really find ourselves. So as much as the experience is difficult and sad and everything, I have to be thankful for those moments as well as for the happy moments as well. And so that, my healing journey, Rose shared a little bit more of the physical to it, and mine was a little bit more. I guess yours was physical, was emotional to physical. I guess mine was too, because I was talking
Well,
about the breathing,
it's all
and the
connected.
breathing is associated. Yeah, and the breathing is associated with lung and large intestine and all that. So, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I know that
So,
it's just it's hard, and I know a lot of people out there personally who have also lost their cat
mm-hmm,
recently, and
mm-hmm,
it's and I know what it's like to lose a pet. It's terrible because they're like your children.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
grief is something that is unique. Everyone processes it differently.
Mm-hmm,
Um, but it's like one of those things that if you don't process it, it'll get so buried inside of you that it can cause depression, heart attacks, so many, heart issues, breath
mm-hmm,
issues, lung issues, or so many different things. Anger can come out in a lot of ways.
mm-hmm.
Acknowledging that and slowing down your life. I really love this story and how you were able to appreciate this beautiful sunset. Was it right? Was it the sunset
Sunrise.
or
Or
sunrise? And
yeah.
life goes on, right? Every day, every day is a new day, no matter what. So even when we are gone, that sunrise or that sun's going to continue to rise, and there'll be new geese in the pond and new things, and just life goes on. So it's just nice that you shared that and you were able to pause and make that reflection. But
Yeah, and that connection to nature, when you observe nature and you watch it, like you're saying, it reminds you that we're a part of something that it continues and it continues and it continues. And I don't know. Yeah.
no,
It's
you're right.
I'm just yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah, just embracing things as a mindset as well can be very helpful with a healing journey.
yeah. But we forget because life is busy, and we forget to slow down and to recognize when we're not feeling right, or when we need to pause, or when we need to cry. um, like one
Mhm.
of the things I wrote is like just resting and taking care of yourself that way. A lot of people do it through avoidance of rest, because once you slow down and you pause, you need to connect with those feelings that don't feel comfortable.
Mhm.
And
Oh
you
yeah.
right? So but and you know that you need to process these feelings, but it's those people that are trying to distract themselves from those feelings that will find that they may hurt physically or even more emotionally down the road. So that's really important to know when to slow down and really take care of yourself and really have compassion. And I commend you, Jennifer. I think you were able to show yourself a lot of compassion and not wait for someone else to show it. I know I'm the same way. If I cry, I don't want to see anybody else to see me cry. I'm like a private crier, and I don't cry often
Yeah.
either. But, and I'm not saying compassion, showing yourself compassion means you have to cry, but you were able to show yourself that, give yourself that compassion, I should say. And that helps,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, So, yeah, this is so
Well, I like to say, and like, that these things are like metamorphoses and stuff. So I just want everybody to know, like, out there, that, challenging times can be very difficult. But if you think about it, like, as you're shedding skin and you're going to move into something else. And depending on the choices you make, you can turn into that butterfly.
Absolutely. I and as you say that, because I did write down something you said, challenges in life strengthen ourselves. And I love that.
Mhm.
That's very powerful. Um, but it takes work. It's a process. It's a process of awareness, recognizing what's happening to us, um, learning how to heal, knowing healing takes time, and it's a continuous journey. And there may be times when we think we're healed, and then someday we get triggered. And how do we deal with that? Do we fall apart? Hopefully not. Hopefully we can pick ourselves up, or think back of what we know, those tools that we worked so hard to have in our toolbox, and we can just pull out, wave the magic tool, and we can deal with it. And I know for me, I think I've gotten to that point to some extent, because I've kind of been around and have experienced a lot of things. So, but I know with the fear, like, I was talking about that the fear was creating the problems. I know that once I'm free of that fear, I'll be free, and I'll be like, I'll feel so much better. So I've experienced glimpses of what it's like not to walk around in that fear. But it's work. I remind myself, it's like, there's nothing I can do. This fear is something I'm creating myself. It's an illusion, and get on with it, girl. Just, move on and have fun. So it's constant work and
Mhm.
reminder. But it's okay. It's all part of that journey.
Yeah.
You Um, yeah,
Well,
thanks for sharing that.
yeah, no problem. And I hope everybody, had a wonderful Christmas and New Year. And we are always here. In our show notes, we have a link for you to send us an email. We're happy to answer any questions via email for you.
Yeah,
And
and we
so,
really
is there
want to.
anything else you wanted to add?
I do. I know we talk about it a lot, and we really appreciate people reaching out and telling us they really enjoy hearing our podcast, and we love all of you. But
Mhm.
we really want to hear about your stories too. And if you feel you have a story that you would like
Mhm.
to share with us, we would love to talk to you about it. I mean, you know, you hear about our healing journeys a lot, and we haven't had people really come out and tell us, like, I've been through this, and this is what I've done to help myself. And we would like to hear those stories from you, so that you can maybe help others. And also, if you are a person who wants to be healed or wants to heal, but is not because of something you're not doing, maybe you're afraid. Are you afraid of healing? There are people out there that they're like, oh, I'm feeling this or I'm feeling that, and it could be a family member, it could be a friend of ours or whatever. We give them advice, and then they don't do it, and we're like, oh, and but what's stopping them? What's stopping you out there from healing as well? So even those stories, we're interested in knowing that.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Oh,
yeah,
you know
sure.
what, Rose, too? There was something. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm
Yeah,
going to throw in something here from when Rose was talking about, an exercise that you can do easily. We sit a lot. We sit a lot in chairs. Okay, so that affects like the balance of
everything.
our pelvic floor. It also affects that psoas muscle as well that
Yes.
Rose was bringing up. A wonderful thing that you can do is while you're watching TV, if you just sit on the floor and sit cross leg, it'll help to open up the thighs a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
just want to send that out there to you guys. Like, just, while you're watching TV, try sitting for 10 minutes and then so on. Just sitting on the floor helps your hips so much. So,
Yes. Yeah.
and that's
Instead of the
something I don't need
chair.
to do any kind of instructional video for you. Yeah, instead of the chair. Yep.
Yes. And another
And you
one.
can change directions of the legs and all
Yeah.
that. You can change how you fold your knees, but just try different things while sitting on the floor. It's very helpful, very
Yes.
helpful.
One of the things I did was, actually, I was laying on the floor and I had my legs elevated. So my legs were at
Yeah.
like I guess an L shape or 45 degrees. Is that 45? Yeah. 90 degrees, 90 degrees.
Where you put the feet against the wall.
Uh
Yeah.
or on the chair, just laying down. But what it does is it helps to
Oh, yeah,
release
yeah, yeah.
that psoas muscle, and that helped my back
Mm-hmm.
a lot. So if you are suffering from back pain
Legs up a
or
chair. Yeah.
yeah, legs up a chair,
Mm-hmm.
that's perfect. That's a good visual.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very helpful. That
Mm-hmm.
actually was a game changer for me. So yeah, so we hope that something we said resonated with you. I know a lot of people have been on a healing journey out
Yes.
there. Um,
Of
and
course. We
yeah,
all are.
we
We
all
all are.
are. So,
Yeah.
Jennifer and I hope to uncover or actually dive deeper in some of the things that we've talked about. If there's topics that you are interested in hearing us talk about, let us know. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. I think
That's good.
we tortured everybody
I
long
think so.
enough.
Yes, yes. I'm looking at my notes. I think we've covered a lot. So remember to just continue to be on your healing journey, and um yeah, and be kind and gentle to yourself. It's always a reminder of ours. Be compassionate, loving. Don't be afraid to try new movement classes, uh, new holistic approaches to healing. You can reach out to us if you have any questions and we can
Hmm.
guide you. So yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We hope you have a wonderful day. And also, please be sure to help us promote the podcast by sharing with your friends. We so appreciate it. This is a real grassroots movement for us. So it means everything when you get other people to listen. It means everything for us. So thank you so much, everyone.
We want to thank you for joining us today. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to our websites and social media platforms, and to send us any email with questions or comments. We look forward to connecting with you again for some more chat off the mat.